Okay, next is for us to complete the aggregate plan by using the template given in your slides. Okay, so for constant workforce strategy, so I have prepared actually a template for you to fill in. Okay, so this template is not in the textbook. I have come up with the template myself. So for constant workforce strategy, okay, constant here, as I explained, constant means fixed. Fixed number of workers. So how to show that we are applying constant workforce strategy is by filling in this template. Okay, so the template for constant workforce has three components. This is number one. Okay, first component, okay, where we need to fill in the number of workers, standard output and all. The second component is where we have to decide on the strategy, and finally the third component of constant workforce strategy is the cost component, which will be shown to you later. Okay, so first let's fill in the number of workers part. Okay, so to show that we are using constant workforce, by the meaning of constant here means fixed number of workers every month, we have to refer to the question, how many workers are used every month to produce the standard output. So as in the example, in the additional information given, for example 10.4, the workers used, or the workers that the company currently has is 15 workers. So we just fill in here 15 workers every month. Okay, 15 from January until June. So by filling in 15 workers here, the total here is still 15, because we are using the same workers every month. By writing 15 here, it shows that we are applying constant workforce, meaning that we are using the same number of workers every month, and the number of workers is not changing. Okay, so then from the number of workers, then we go to this part. Okay, this part is where we need to calculate the resources. The resources here is actually we need to determine the shortage or excess in production. Okay, shortage or excess. Shortage and excess here, it means sama ada apa yang company keluarkan itu mempunyai lebihan ataupun ataupun kurangan. Okay, excess, lebihan. Shortage means kurangan. So we need to work by using these three items. First is beginning inventory. Okay, where to get the beginning inventory, it will be given in the question. It can be in the additional information or in any of the sentences. We just take these three items and work on these three. Beginning inventory, we add with the standard output, we minus off the forecasted demand, then we will get the shortage and excess. So the formulas have been given here, add, minus, equal to. Okay, so standard output is what we have calculated earlier. Okay, we calculated in January different standard output from January until June, because of we have different number of working days. But we still use the same number of workers. If you still remember, we calculate standard output by multiplying with 15 workers every month. So we just write in the standard output that we get every month. Okay, let's start with the beginning inventory first. We calculate month by month. We start with January first. Is there any beginning inventory given in the question or not? Let's check. Okay, so there is no beginning inventory given. So beginning inventory here is 0. Okay, and for the standard output, we just take directly from what we have calculated earlier. In January, the standard output is 12,000. Okay, this one we calculated earlier. February, 12,960. And complete until June. Okay, we complete from January until June. The different standard output as we have calculated earlier, and it brings a total of 74,880. Okay, now let's see the forecasted demand. So how to get the forecasted demand? So it is given in the question. So we just take directly what is given in the second column in the question, forecasted demand column. So in January, the forecasted demand is 11,000, and you finish off until June. Okay, so we finish off until June, and it gives us a total of 77,500. Okay, let's interpret the meaning of this number starting from beginning inventory. Beginning inventory here is actually the inventory carried forward from the previous month. Okay, so we start preparing the aggregate plan from January. So beginning inventory here means is there any stock carried forward from last year's December? So the question does not mention any, so the beginning inventory is 0. So now let's look at for January. The company is able to produce 12,000 units for this month, but the customers demand 11,000 units. Company dapat keluarkan 12,000 unit produk. Customer nak beli produk sebanyak 11,000 unit. So how to calculate the shortage and excess? So we just take 0 plus 12,000 minus of 11,000, and it gives us whether shortage or excess. So we can see clearly that the company produced more than what the customers demand. So over here we will have an excess of 1,000 units. Okay, everything here for the first column here, the first part here, everything is in units. Okay, ini adalah dalam units ya. So bulan Januari, company dapat keluarkan 12,000 unit menggunakan 15 orang pekerja dia. Customer hanya nak beli 11,000 unit. Then we have an extra of 1,000. So this is an excess. So excess should not be in bracket lah. The reason I put bracket here is actually to minus off. Sebab tu saya letak bracket ni untuk I can see clearly that 12,000 should minus off 11,000. Okay, because formula ni kata kita kena tolak keluar. So when we have an excess over here, so this excess will become the following month beginning inventory. So whenever we have excess only, dia akan jadi bulan hadapan punya beginning inventory. So 1,000 will be the beginning inventory for February. So the following month beginning inventory is depending on the previous month excess. So let's settle for February, the calculation whether we have excess or shortage. 1,000 we add with 12,960, we minus off 12,000. Customer, kita ada stok lebihan daripada bulan lepas, and the company can produce 12,960 in February units, and the customer's demand for our product is 12,000 units. So let's check whether we have shortage or excess. Okay, so again it gives us an excess of 1,960. Company dapat keluarkan sebanyak ni 12,960 tambah dengan stok lebihan yang kita ada daripada the previous month in January, and customers only demand for 12,000 units. So that's why we have an extra or an excess of 1,960 units. So automatically this excess for February will become the following month beginning inventory in March, 1,960. So let's settle these three items for March. 1,960 add together with 12,480. Okay, so in March, when we settle these three items, it brings us still an excess of 1,440 units. So this will be brought forward as the beginning inventory, 1,440 units. So in April, we do the same thing. We take beginning inventory 1,440 units. We add with the standard output 12,000, and we minus off the forecasted demand 14,000. And in this month, that is a bit different. Okay, it is a bit different where we have a shortage of 560. Okay, 560. I put in bracket because of it shows there is a shortage, not an excess. Maksudnya tak cukup pengeluaran. Kenapa? When we add these two, it becomes 13,440 units. Dua benda ni beginning inventory and our standard output. So it gives us only 13,440 units, but the customers demand more, that is 14,000. So that's why we have a shortage here where there is not enough products or output to be given or to be sold to customers. So when we have shortage, this shortage cannot be brought forward. Tak boleh dibawa ke hadapan. So the next month beginning inventory will be 0. Okay, whenever we have shortage, then there is nothing to be carried forward. So we do the same thing for May, nothing to be carried forward. So we just take 0 plus 12,480 units minus of 14,000, that is the forecasted demand. So in May also we have a shortage of 1,520 units. So there is nothing to be carried forward over here. So for June, we calculate the three items, 0 plus 12,960 units, that is the standard output, minus of the forecasted demand, that is 13,500 units, and still we get a shortage of 540 units. Okay, so the total shortage here is, when you add up all this, okay, how to add up all this? Plus sign, plus sign, plus sign, minus of these three items. So in the end, you will get total shortage for 6 months is 2,620 units. Okay, so please also calculate the total for the beginning inventory. You add all this, so the beginning inventory becomes 4,400 units. Okay, so now we are done with the first part.